If you want to compose music for video games, and right now you've got a hard drive full of half-finished ideas, or you've never actually taken the step to compose what you want, this is for you. Look, if you've ever finished a boss theme and thought, I'm just gonna not send it out to the developer who asked me for a sample, or if you've started to create an email to a studio, typed 3 sentences, and then deleted the whole thing because it felt stupid, or you've seen a game jam or OST contest and thought, I'll do the next one when I'm ready. You're about to hear the story of someone who did that for years and almost stayed there stuck personally. For a long time, I was exactly where you are. A friend of my mother's named Michelle, and my mom kept telling me, your music's incredible. You should give your demo to this real producer we know. We can literally hand it to him. I said no. I wouldn't let them do it. Later, I had a girlfriend, and her family did the same thing. They had a connection to a producer. They wanted to pass my music along. And I said, no, I'm just not quite ready yet. So imagine this from the outside. I'm a guy who says, I want my music in games. I want my people to hear it. I want to be a pop star. I want people to be singing my songs. And there are real, breathing, living humans saying, give us the tracks, we'll put them in front of someone who can move the needle. And if it happened to you today with a game dev or studio you admire, you'd think, I'd jump on that. I didn't. Not once, not twice, but for years. I always had a reason. This mix isn't quite there yet. I need to rewrite the melody before I show it to a real producer. The timing's weird right now. I'll send it once I've got my sound really dialed in and figured out. But underneath all of that, here's what was really going on. I was terrified of what it would mean about me if someone who knew what they were doing, instead of like my mom or my mom's friends, listened to my work and said, no thanks. And if you're honest, that's probably the fear that's going on inside of you, and that's underneath the I'm not ready yet story too, that you might be telling yourself. So here's what we're gonna do in this video. I'm gonna give you a clear step-by-step reframing of that fear specifically for composing game music. Then we're going to walk through the real story of how I ducked chances to be heard by professionals for years, even when friends, girlfriends, parents, and their networks were practically begging me to hand over my music, and name the core fear you probably have been feeling for a long time, but that you've never really put a name to. Not what if they don't like my track, but what if they don't like my track, and that means I was never meant to do this, and my whole dream collapses, and I am not enough, and I will never be loved. Look at why sending your tracks to game devs or itch or Steam Game Jam organizers, publishers, producers, mentors feels like stepping out on stage naked, even though logically you know it's just an email or a link. Now I'm going to show you the mental shift that I had to make to finally put my music where strangers and pros could actually hear it, get judged by people who weren't my mom and friends, survive that judgment, and use it to get better instead of disappearing. I'm going to give you one concrete challenge that you can do the next 24 hours with a single specific action that will feel uncomfortable, maybe even terrifying, but will prove to your nervous system, to your body, that your life does not end when your music is judged by another human being. You're going to walk away with an actual decision framework that when I'm scared to send, here's how I will think about it, and here's what I will do anyway. So here's what you get if you stay to the end. Now, I'm not gonna promise you that every developer you email will respond, or that every producer will love your first demo, or that you will suddenly stop feeling fear around sharing your work. That is not at all how any of this works. Here's what I can honestly promise you if you stick with me and actually do the thing I'm gonna share with you at the end of this video. You will experience in your body that being measured is not a death sentence. Someone might ignore you, someone might say no, someone might give you harsh feedback, and you'll wake up the next day still alive. You'll feel a little bit more free the next time you go to send a pack to a game developer, submit to a jam, or an OST call, or DM a creator you respect with a link to your work, because you'll have proof that you can survive the worst case scenario your brain has been screaming about. You'll move one giant step closer to the timeline where your tracks are actually sitting under gameplay, actually living in players' headphones, and actually building your portfolio and career instead of staying in someday when I'm good enough purgatory for the next 5, 10, 20 years, or even the rest of your life. And maybe the most important thing is just start building the identity of someone who does the scary, vulnerable things anyway. The version of you whose name is in the game credits and is already doing those reps. You don't become that person later. You become them by what you do now. So if you're writing video game music and the idea of sending your work out to real producers or real developers or a real competition makes you feel like you're about to be executed in public, stay with me, because I felt that exact I will die if they hear me and they don't like it panic. And the only reason I'm sitting here talking to you instead of hiding all my tracks on a hard drive is that I finally changed what I was willing to do and I stepped into it. So let me tell you about how that went, what I wish I'd done sooner, and how you can skip all of the years that I wasted. So here's the truth. If you create something and send it out and you're rejected, you're afraid of what your brain is going to make that mean to you. Like everyone else is moving forward, I'm delusional. This proves I should quit. So you feel like you should build a cage that feels safe, and as long as you don't get measured, you can still believe that you'll do something amazing someday. No proof, no rejection, no progress. Here's the lie your brain runs. If I never really put myself out there, I never really have to find out that I'm not good enough. So you rewrite the same loop 50 times. You watch other people's devlogs and OSTs and you tell yourself that you're researching and getting ready to be perfect, because the moment you send to an indie developer whose game you love, to a game jam, to a studio, label, or a mentor, you risk being measured. And your anxiety says, if I'm measured and I come up short, my life or my dream is basically over. And the problem is that safety is a pure fantasy. You're not safe, you're stuck, and you're trading a temporary feeling of relief for a permanent, hear me, permanent lack of progress. So let's zoom out. The worst realistic case when you send your work to someone is they ignore you, they say no thanks, or they send a vague, we're going in a different direction message to you. Or, look, better case scenario is you actually get some honest feedback that stings. Now notice what's missing. No one shows up at your house to confiscate your DAW. You don't get banned from composing forever. Your hands don't fall off. Your name doesn't go on a global blacklist of failed composers. And you might feel like you're going to die when you hit send, but you won't. You're going to wake up the next day, still being someone who writes music, with either silence, rejection, or feedback in your inbox, and with some more information than you had the day before. And in 150 years, none of these people whose opinions you're scared of will be alive anyway. So no one's going to be in, the year 2174 saying, remember that email where that one composer didn't get the gig? What a failure. I know, total loser. No one's going to have that conversation. Your brain is treating a small social risk like a literal survival threat. So here's the shift. You are not your last track. You are also not your music. You're also not your feelings. You're also not your mind. You're also not the feeling of anxiety that occurs in your body when you have these thoughts. You're not the one producer, schedule, budget, or mood that day. When you send your music, A, yes is an opportunity. A, no. When you send your music, a yes is an opportunity. A no is data. Silence is data too. None of these change your worth. Your job is not to win every single person over. Your job is to compose, ship, learn, repeat. Every opinion that comes back is a data point that helps you aim at being better, a better fit for projects. It helps you improve the specific parts that aren't working of your music, and build a thicker skin so sending gets easier over time. And if you love yourself enough, other people's reactions become feedback, not a verdict. Now, I'm not going to have enough time here to fix you not loving yourself, but I will tell you that is the one thing that fixed me when it came to this, like for real. It's that because I was surrendering my self-worth out into the world, that's what made it so scary. It's because I was allowing other people to judge my self-worth. I was allowing other people to judge what I was worth without first saying, no, here's a line in the sand. I love myself. I am amazing. I'm awesome. I am glorious. And to be clear, it took me like 4 years of work to get to the point that I can say that to you. Like concentrated effort. Like, instead of going to practice the guitar, I practiced self-worth for like 4 years. Seriously, I had seminars, workbooks, tons of stuff. That's outside the scope of this video, but I will tell you that is an avenue to walk down. We'll talk more about that in another video. So here's a rule you can steal for now. Rule number 1, if it's finished enough to show a friend, it's finished enough to send to a developer. Now, to be clear, don't take your like super rough draft thing and send it off to Nintendo being like, I'm going to be the next superstar. Don't do that. But if it's good enough to show a friend, it's good enough to show a developer in a game jam so you can join their team and you can actually compose for them and get some experience composing for games. So There should be no more waiting on mythical final, super final versions. If a real human who isn't you can listen from start to finish and understand the vibe, it's sendable. Now, rule number 2, the more scared you are to send it, the more important it is that you do send it. Fear is a compass here. If the thought of emailing your favorite indie dev, the organizer of a jam, studio respect makes your stomach flip, that's the exact edge, that's the exact line that you need to cross. It's literally, that is the signal. Fear is the signal. Why? Why is fear the signal? Because that's where you have the biggest opportunity to grow as a human being. This is literally it's like playing a game and there being a whole area with all these super leveled up items that you never walked into. And fear is your compass that's bringing you to the threshold of that area. And fear is like the old, like the NPC standing by the dirt road going, things are mighty dangerous down there, huh? And you can turn around or you can walk down that road and actually level yourself up. So rule number 3, shrink the gap between I should send this and I sent it. Right now your gap might be think about sending, 3 months of overthinking, still haven't sent it yet. The new goal is think about sending, in 5 minutes, sent. That's a skill. You get better at it by practicing. So here's my invitation for you for what you can do in the next 24 hours. Number 1, pick one piece. Not your whole catalog, one track. Ideally something game ready. A level theme, menu queue, boss loop, whatever. Pick one human who could move you forward 1%. An indie developer whose game you like on its team. By the way, if you don't have a track yet because you've been too scared to even start composing, your first step is to start composing. There's so many resources on this channel. Go watch the channel videos. You'll find everything you need spread across this channel. Right, so you have your track. Go to a game jam or an OSC competition, accepting entries, go to a more experienced composer who offers feedback, write a teeny honest message, keep it simple. Just like, hey, name, I'm a composer who makes this. I made a quick track with your kind of game in mind. If you're open to it, I'd love for you to have a listen and tell me if it feels like it could ever fit in a project like yours. Either way, thanks for making games that you make. I thoroughly enjoyed playing XYZ, and you're awesome. Link to your thing, and then send it. Not think about it someday, actually send it. Even if your hands shake, even if your heart pounds, even if you feel a little bit dizzy. And after you send it, do not sit there refreshing the inbox every 30 seconds. Go write another email and then go write another piece of music, because here's the truth. If they say yes, it's amazing. If they say no, you're still a composer. It's not up for them to determine who you are. You determine who you are. If they say nothing, you just prove to yourself that you can handle silence and keep going. All 3 outcomes are better than the 4th option that you've been living in, do nothing, and stay stuck in the same exact place for years and years and years. Now, if you feel like you absolutely can't send your music to real people who could use it, that's exactly why you must, because that is where your growth is. That's where the version of you with credits, fans, and real game audio careers is standing, waiting for you. If it was easy, everyone would do it. Most will never do it. They'll stay safe in the illusion of perfection and someday wasting their lives. And then at the moment of their death, they will look back at their life and they will have regrets that they did not step up to the plate and take a swing. At least that's how I see my things. So, up to you. But that's this man's opinion. You don't have to do that. You can pick a track, you can pick a person, you can write the message, you can hit send. You will not die. And you might finally start the career you've been pretending that you're not ready for this whole time. Go take that action now. Real quick, I'm going to show you the exact 6-stage roadmap, going from having never composed a single note of music to composing music that's good enough to go into PC and console games, and if you decide you want to, all the way to getting paid to compose music that I've done for myself and helped other composers do multiple times, so I can say with a lot of confidence that these are the levels you're going to go through as your skills increase. And I broke each one of these down by the 4 most critical shifts that need to happen at each level. What the blockers feel like, what the symptoms are when you're going through it, and then what steps I and everyone I've helped go through this took to graduate to the next level. And we've done this across every game genre of music and every genre of game, chiptune, full orchestral, hybrid, action games, puzzle games, simulators, roguelites, shooters, and it works everywhere. And it's my gift to you. It's absolutely free. And the link is in the video description, or you could just go to bestmusiccoach.com/roadmap, enter your info. It'll spit it right back out of you. And again, it's my gift to you. It's free.